Okay. I'm in the hospitality industry. I have an exclusive guest house for business travelers. I do self-catering apartments for guests that stay longer than a month. And with that, I'm doing shuttle services, but it's mainly focused for my guests. So I'm picking up my own guests from the airport. And April this year, I've just opened a catering company. So I'm running canteens at a corporate company. And for a social project, I'm running a recycling company where I'm collecting dry waste in my community. Once you're in a professional environment, you sometimes just realize, you're going to make it in the corporate world or you're not going to make it. And because I grew up on a farm, and my dad was into farming, that is where my entrepreneurial talent came from. Because as a young child, at the age of 13, I already had the responsibilities to help out on the farm, help him to do wages. And I think, from childhood, it was instilled in me. And it just took me a while I was working to realize, but that is what I want to venture in one day. Challenges. At the time in 2007, when I wanted to enter the hospitality industry, my guest house is in Centurion. It was a predominantly white industry. So it was very difficult for me to do research, obtain information from people. So, I solely depend on the internet. And because I have an extensive experience of traveling, I always said to myself, one day I would like to do guest housing because I am familiar with the corporate market, and my niche was going to focus on the corporate industry because that is the industry that I came from. And the challenges was, to start a guest house, you need to obtain a home loan from a bank for a property, but banks do not finance properties if you don't have the right rezoning. So basically, we started off our guest house with our own finance, and we had to do everything ourselves with cash and build it up to where it is today, because we waited 3 years for the council to give us rezoning rights, So that was the biggest challenge, but that didn't stop us, because by law, once you have submitted your application into the council, because obviously they consult you and tell you what you will be able to qualify for. And we started, to do the guest house and build and buy furniture and things on our own. So I think that was the biggest challenge, but it was discipline and focus that, got me where we are today. It is extremely important. I mean, if you look at the situation in our country, that we have the highest youth unemployment rate in the world. And so we have to go back to the drawing board and say, where do we start? Financing is one of the biggest challenges in South Africa for entrepreneurs, but also government and corporate South Africa support, in terms of mentoring and helping people to build small, successful businesses. And with our education system, which is also, a challenge in our country, we will have to focus and implement more entrepreneurial training within schools so that all our kids, won't be able to go to university and then will be unemployed at the end of the day. So I think, South Africa should focus more on developing entrepreneurs, because that is what our country needs. If 48.2% of youth are unemployed, it's the biggest challenge and crisis a country can have. And if you can find ways how you can not persuade them, but, give them the opportunity to try the entrepreneurial route out, I personally think that is what will solve our problem, because a lot of companies are cutting down at the moment. I mean, if you look around the world, everybody is struggling. So companies are not very keen to employ people at the moment because everybody is retrenching or cutting on costs. So at the end of the day, entrepreneurial arena is where South Africa should focus on. And it is our government and our corporate South Africa's responsibility to start to help to drive this process.